furry fetish you've never heard of by a good channel. Frankie Faye, bad art history, bro. This is gonna be interesting, bro. Lock in.
Furry nightmare fuel. Furry nightmare fuel. You know it when you see it. And if you grew up online, you've probably seen a furry Photoshop masterpiece that radicalized you. But where exactly do these images come from? Who's making them?
I didn't even know these were furry fetishes. I guess I didn't think of furries when I saw these. I thought they were made to be horrifying, just to kind of scare you and be uncanny and cursed. But I guess, like...
And more importantly, who are the people into this? It turns out there's a
Into
fine
this?
line between furry art and body horror. And when you cross that line,
Yeah.
you enter an obscure internet community where the boundaries between flesh, fursuit, and fetish don't matter. This is a deep dive into botched fursuits and body horror gone sexy. This is bad art history.
I'm sorry, fetish? In this? Who the f... I gotta just find the type of people that look at that and go like, my dick hard, my pussy wet, because that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, lock in.
Part 1. Furry nightmare fuel. The internet operates much like a freak show. We are morbidly obsessed with creating mythology around our freaks, in every sense of the word. So when a video of a furry dolphin homunculus man began circulating online in 2008 with virtually no explanation, it tapped into humanity's oldest instinct: being mean to furries on the internet. So where did this thing come from? This is
scary,
where our
bro.
rabbit hole begins. On March 24th, 2007, the Canadian art team North Fur, specializing in making animal-themed face prosthetics, had recently finished up their latest practice piece: a hyper-realistic dolphin muzzle. They took a few pictures, uploaded them to DeviantArt, and the whole thing flew under the radar. But a few months later, the dolphin man inexplicably appeared on a furry image board, and someone thought it would be funny if they reposted him to the furry porn website E621.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of the end. Users immediately spammed the dolphin man with downvotes, called him nightmare fuel, and
Facts.
one person even complained the image was so distressing it was making him violent. So you can imagine how people reacted when they found the dolphin video. On December 30th, 2007, the North Fur YouTube channel uploaded this alarming clip of the dolphin muzzle in a full range of motion, and Pandora's fursuit was officially unzipped. In no time at all, screenshots of the dolphin man began surfacing everywhere. NeoGAF, 4chan, MacroChan.
It is
and
hilarious,
as is protocol online, if you don't know where something came from, just start making shit up. Rumors quickly spread that this was footage from some
South Park.
government experiment to turn people into Kyle's dad. Others claim that it was a banned Facebook video from 2004, even though
Okay.
it was filmed
You
in
could have said anything. Live leak. You could have, yeah, it was some 4chan video someone made. You could have said it was the beginning of a porn video and I would have believed it. Swear to God, it just has that look. It has that look like either someone's about to die or it's about to get really freaky in there. You could have threw those things at me and been like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
2006. Others still insisted that the original audio was actually lost media, uploading hoax versions of the video with their own audio and claiming that that was the original footage. And for the next 13 years, far past the point where you could simply Google this and find out where it came from, the urban legends persisted. So why did people freak out like this? I'm not gonna insult your intelligence here. There's a pretty glaring issue with this design. It's a touch too realistic for its own good. And it
Facts.
came along during an
Should be a
era of
movie
the internet
character.
where we were all briefly obsessed with Super Mario in real life.
Super Mario in real life.
For millions of people in the 2010s, Uncanny Valley images were their first contact with internet hoax imagery. And armed with this knowledge, people came away with two game theories about the dolphin guy. Either he was disturbing because furry's bad and the artists that made him sucked, and did I mention furry's bad? Or he was creepy because someone wanted him to look that way because it was a fetish thing. So to really figure out why this image exists, we gotta talk about a really freaky guy in a bathtub named Jonathan Galindo. Part 2.
Jonathan
Goofy
Galindo.
gooning. So in 2020, kids on the internet were legitimately living in fear of this photorealistic Goofy cosplay
Juice.
in piss yellow lighting with dead eyes. But one look at this image and you can tell that it's significantly older than TikTok. So where did this furry nightmare fuel par excellence come from? On January 28, 2012, a user on the furry art site Fur Affinity, going by Dusky Sam, began documenting his progress on a Goofy cosplay. Through a combination of clothes, makeup, and a dog snout prosthetic that he had purchased from—
Dude, imagine this is what they had at Disneyland when you pulled up. This is what they, oh my God, kids would be freaking out, crying. Mom, I do not want to take a picture with this nigga, bro. Yo, they'd be losing their fucking minds. Yo, like imagine this was the nigga. They're like, oh yeah, this is what you get when you come to Disneyland, bro. Take a picture with Goofy. Hell no, somebody would shoot him. Somebody would probably bring a weapon in there to kill that nigga. Cause like I feel like just being near this thing would give you nightmares. I swear to God.
North Fur nation of clothes, makeup, and a dog snout prosthetic that he had purchased from North Fur FX. Dusky Sam uploaded a series of 29 photos showing off the range of his talents. He even dipped his toe into some alt history predictions. And this was all well received until it hit 4chan in 2015. Internet sleuths began digging deeper, and in no time at all, they found his Xtube account. Over the next 3 years, different Goofy photos
X2? I never heard of that one. Is that like, it's not what I think it is, right? That's just like a different YouTube? Right?
explicit and otherwise, began to surface on Reddit, sparking discussion about which side should have actually won World
This is what Hey, yo, that's insane. That's fucking insane. Like, hey, bro, look what the internet has come to. If we had just let this nigga win. No, you're wildin', bro. You're dead wildin'.
on Reddit, sparking discussion about which side should have actually won World War II. But the videos have long since been taken down, the site hosting them is closed, and it seemed like Dusky Sam could finally put all of this behind him. Until 2019. That year, a new offshoot of an infamous whale-themed internet challenge had just taken off. Numerous identical accounts popped up across all social media sites, claiming to be someone named Jonathan Galindo, who looked like this, and threatened to dox children unless they performed some permanent act. It seems obvious now that this was not all just one guy, but TikTokers weaponized their collective 10 IQ anyway, and uncritically made the connection between Dusky Sam's cosplay and the fictional persona of Jonathan Galindo. And they came after him so hard that Samuel Canini, the actual human being behind Dusky Sam, had to issue an official statement disavowing any connection between his artwork and the challenge.
Fair
and
enough.
It was at this point, researching the video, that I hit a wall. I knew in my gut that this was connected to a fetish thing somehow. I wasn't convinced that this could possibly just end with the Goofy Nightmare bathtub. But I figured, okay, there's one more furry nightmare fuel classic that I haven't looked into yet. It's probably nothing, but you know, maybe it'll contain a very specific phrase that only gets used in a very obscure DeviantArt fetish community that gets so balls to the wall with it that even furries don't want to touch it.
What?
You know, hypothetically. Part 3. The Redbubble Dog Man.
Oh, okay.
So it turns out I was partially right about this fetish thing because this is where it gets really weird.
I don't like anything about this. This right here, it might be I don't like, this is throwing me all the way off. Nothing about this seems like this is not right. It's just not right. Please stop this. Please.
So a few weeks ago, Pugpoggers on Twitter asked me to find the origin of these two images. The one on the right is kind of a dead end, and it's most likely AI generated. But the one on the left is actually a Nightmare Fuel classic from 2009. Uploaded to DeviantArt that year by artist Jagdragon, it doesn't look like much. In fact, it was just this guy's Photoshop project for his CG arts class, and his intention was to morph himself with his dog. But the internet had other plans for him. And in the mid-2010s, this image made the usual rounds on Reddit and Imgur, and everyone made their usual kill it with fire.
I'm sorry, what?
Usual.
Post the last pic you fapped to. And this nigga... All right, bro. Hey, man, to each their own, I guess. That's funny. Post the last pic you fapped to. Right here, gang. Look at this. You see the snout on that thing? Hard to not let it go.
Rounds on Reddit and Imgur, and everyone...
What is it?
In the mid-2010s, this image made the usual rounds on Reddit and Imgur.
So my dad posted this today. Thought it belonged here.
And everyone made their
Woof woof, creepiest picture I've ever seen. Yeah, facts.
usual kill it with fire comments. One Redditor found this image so frightening, he demanded to know if this actually happened to someone in real life. To this day, no one has answered him. But the dog man also appeared on one other website you wouldn't expect. If you reverse search this, you'll find a listing for a sticker on Redbubble. And the listing name isn't Furry anything or Dog Man or anything like that. It simply reads Zoomorph sticker. So I went on deviantart.edu and typed in Zoomorph and found this and this and this,
oh my,
and all of these.
Oh,
because
God.
even though the dolphin muzzle, bathtub Goofy, and the dog man are not exclusively fetish images as intended by the artist,
they're used in that community.
one of the worst coincidences ever, they happen to look exactly like something that is. Something DeviantArt immediately recommends when you click on this image. The zoomorph humiliation fetish.
What?
But if you want to hear a sentence that's a little less upsetting, try, this video was sponsored by Meta PCs. Customizing a PC can be stressful and low.
Nice. I'm gonna skip the sponsor and get right back into the video, but W, way to throw a sponsor in.
Spilled an entire thermos of coffee on this and nothing happened to it. Link below. Between their flex sponsor over. Part 4. Boomers on DeviantArt. Now, before everyone jumps me in the comments, 3 things you ought to know. This is anthro-art, as in anthropomorphic animal. This is a photomorph, a term no one really uses anymore. And this is a zoomorph. Now on paper, these are 2 versions of the same concept. An animal with distinctly human features.
Yeah, I don't understand.
But while this variety can be found basically anywhere furry art exists, this one really only lives on DeviantArt. But why?
Yeah.
Well, there are actually a few rules when it comes to furry fetish art. Generally speaking, you don't want to lean into the human features too much. And you never, ever, ever want to cut out someone's face in Microsoft Paint and stick it on a barn animal.
Fair enough.
Unless that happens to be your fetish. So to come back to our dog man for no reason at all, right next to him is a user-generated collection called Photomorphs. And already, it's not obvious that this is mainstream furry. The biggest furry porn site that hosts this kind of content only has several dozen images to offer. And one of the few artists
I just feel like this is something people would make as a joke. You know, like no one would actually consume this other than like just to fuck around with your friends in middle school or something. Like, yo, look at this stupid ass shit I found. And they open it up and it's just straight shock factor. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be anything more than that.
behind most of this stuff on there nuked his entire gallery for reasons unknown. And when you look up the term zoomorph, no results on the furry porn sites. Yet DeviantArt is crawling with these guys. This account's whole shtick is taking random selfies and photoshopping animal features onto the women's heads. And the comments are all really normal about it.
Can you do mosquito next and have the boobs? All I'm gonna say, bro, is you Sonic fans are never, ever, ever beating the allegations. You're some weird niggas. You're some fucking weirdos, bro. Like, what the hell do you mean? Can you do mosquitoes and have the boob filled with blood? Like, what kind of thought process is that?
This one takes a more Animorph style approach to, again, disfiguring the selfies of completely
Crazy. The feet all up in here? Okay.
innocent women. This guy roleplays as a researcher at a medical facility that runs experiments turning beautiful young women into mammalian abominations. He goes by Theoryanthropist. Keep that name in the back of your head. And the examples are honestly too numerous to list. Every animal, every stage of transition, every conceivable category is someone's fetish on this website. And if you still don't believe me, here's a guy whose thing is specifically putting the heads of Asian women onto small animals.
Censored due to literal asshole.
But hold up. You're thinking, how can you say it's a fetish just because these people are photoshopping really
Yeah,
scary
I was gonna
stuff?
say that was my exact thought. Like, this doesn't feel fetish. This just feels like I'm photoshopping faces on shit because I'm bored. What makes it a fetish?
Using women's selfies and also writing really long stories about it. They could be doing this for any reason.
The stories, you got me.
There are
What?
actually some very reliable tells when it comes to DeviantArt fetish behavior. The comments, for example. On this post by the Theoryanthropist about a hot young blonde being turned into a lioness against her will, the sole comment reads, "Continue with the experiments."
Oh my
Or
God.
this post of a dog girl using a selfie of dubious origin, where the comments praise her remarkable beauty and one calls her good girl.
Oh my God. This is like this is up there with Book Talk. No. Cause Book Talk, they be having fucking dragon turtle men with fat penises. No, I think it's a chicken guy with a fat penis, the 12-inch long penis, having sex with like a 1,000-year-old woman or something. This is everyone's got their thing, dude. Everyone's got their thing.
You get the point. But even lacking comments, the fetish tells alone are numerous. Extreme emphasis in the photo captions on the women's humiliation and despair over their new animal body. Constant repetition when it comes to words like drooling, out of control, or the horror. And most tellingly, oh no, the big lady sat on me. If you've seen a few of these videos now, you know what that phrase means. But if you don't, I'm basically referring to these incredibly complex origin stories that they come up with in the captions, explaining how these young, beautiful women just accidentally fell into a vat one day and became some kind of like a cat-girl science experiment. And thematically, the whole thing reads like, oh no, I can't believe this happened to me. Oh no, well, I'm not gonna do anything about it now. That kind of thing. So what to make of all this? Simply put, it's an animal transformation fetish with humiliation features. And even though the animal part plays a major role, this is really not much of a furry thing at all. They just happen to share some vocabulary. Regardless of genre, furry fetish art is primarily about animals with human features.
This is crazy.
Whereas this stuff is really just human women attaining animal features, often against their will. In fact, I couldn't help but notice something incredibly boomer-coded about the entire thing, which may explain its absence on the popular websites. A lot of the women featured tend to be conventionally attractive as opposed to internet hot. You don't see a lot of e-girls, mostly stock photo models and girl next door types. The captions seemingly never refer to memes or pop culture. What film references there are feel incredibly dated. This community does little to indicate that they're aware of a world outside of DeviantArt.com. And I'd say the biggest tell is their use of this word, photo manipulation. The term is pretty dated. It was never even very popular back when photoshopping something was a novel concept. And this is obviously just my speculation,
No, you make a good point. I think we caught on to the boomer people, to the millennial boomer folks, on what the weirdos in that generation were up to. All right, We know what the weirdos in the Gen Z generation were up to. They're watching the hentai right now. But you guys, this is what you were doing. All right? This is what you were doing. I got it. It makes some sense. It makes some sense. You fit into that category? Okay, Abe Lincoln.
The whole thing really does just feel like a group of older people for whom the furry thing never clicked in their heads. So if they're not furries, then how did they figure out they were into this? Part 5. Boomer body horror. Transformation fetishes are everywhere online. Often abbreviated TF, they're one of the most popular categories among furry websites and really anywhere you find fetish art, period. And the simplest explanation is, many people are drawn to imaginary scenarios where they can surrender power of their body in a controlled environment. Kinda like a masochism thing. Others prefer the opposite, where they can transform into something big and powerful.
You're insulting our generation? So be it. Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennial, they all have bad things about them, EP. There's nothing you can do about that, is there? Right? Such is life. Such is how the world works, man.
As with a lot of fetishes with big internet communities, it's often a case of early childhood exposure to transformation sequences in books and movies and cartoons, things that take on a morbidly fascinating quality by the time puberty rolls around. According to psychologist and professional gamer PhD Dr. Mark Griffiths, the most common type of transformation material online, by far, is humans turning into animals. And this is not shocking. Transformation has
fucking Teen Wolf top tier, bro. Let's talk about it. Like when we were in high school, when I was in high school, a nigga turning into a wolf was the hottest thing ever. All right? The hot Teen Wolf, Jacob from Twilight, like they were fawning over those people, okay? Vampire Diaries, it was like, oh my God, you turned into you're an alpha? You play lacrosse? Oh God, it's so hot. Like that was like, dude, like they were the sex symbols, right? And you thought it was because of the character himself was hot. But now that I'm looking back on it, I think they just genuinely liked that these people transformed into animals. It gives you like I don't know what it gives you. I don't understand it. I still don't understand the animal fetish transformation. I'm going to understand it one day, but today is still not that day. So I'm not going to sit here and lie like I do understand it, but yeah.
Massive overlap with basically every subculture that has.
My mom's in the room. Mom, Abe, your son Abe is watching furry porn. Mom, Abe is watching furry porn. Furry porn. Abe is watching furry porn. Check his phone. Check his phone. Furry porn. You don't know what that is, Mom? He's watching porn with animals in it. Mom, check that shit. Look at his shit.
Even transformation has a massive overlap with basically every subculture that has even a single gooner among its ranks. As one transformation fetishist explains, I don't identify at all with the furry thing. I mean, no offense to those of you who do. For me, it's merely a curiosity about what a particular form would physically feel like. And in some cases, there's even a slight element of humiliation at no longer being entirely human. It's when some element of control and/or slight humiliation appears that it becomes erotic. In fact, I've noticed one common theme in all the transformation scenes that caught my attention growing up. The scene typically focuses on the character's reaction, which is often a sense of, my own body is betraying me.
And that turns you on.
In the imagination, transforming can be liberating and escapism and empowering and all that good stuff. But in reality, it would be pretty painful and horrifying to behold. Now, quick tangent here. For what it's worth, the dolphin muzzle was not a fetish piece. We know this because in virtually all of the posts on the usual sites tagged NorthFurFX, it's just run-of-the-mill photography showing off their makeup skills. No holes, barely any flesh. But he breaks the illusion, because in real life, transformation would probably look a lot like this. In other words, disfiguring. And for people who get off to humiliating transformations, that's the whole point. It's only a few clicks away from zoomorphism before you get into the darker stuff. Girls stranded in the humiliating midpoint between
that. Stop.
woman and reptile, women who barely resemble humans at all. Many of these I can't even show you because they're legitimately just screenshots from the hub with the women's faces made to look as animalistic and disfigured as possible. And if you dig deeper still,
now that's funny as fuck. Is that making good? Yo.
you find the dog woman head swap community, which is exactly what it sounds like. And when I call this stuff body horror, that's not me clutching my pearls. Think of it this way. Terror and exhilaration are very similar feelings. Transformation and body horror are both visually effective through the intimate manipulation of the body. They both change you, they both strip you of your control, and they both can get pretty dehumanizing in the most practical sense. And honestly, I think that's where a lot of the morbid fascination comes from. It's not a coincidence that horror and sci-fi often evoke body horror and sexuality in the same breath. People like
like, this B-roll is hard, bro.
being stimulated,
Prometheus, I
they
don't
like
this.
being manhandled, and you only need to get your wires crossed one time to decide that this is as sexy as this. But what about the real thing? Virtually all this stuff is confined to art and fetish fiction, but there are people who take this stuff to its logical extreme. Because when Photoshop isn't enough, you can always just carve up your actual body. Super Mario in real life.
Fuck you mean?
Biofur as a term is very controversial. You can't look it up on DeviantArt, and its discussion page on Wikifur cites its unpopularity as a naming convention because so few people seem to identify that way at all. But every group is entitled to its outliers, and there is a vanishing minority of furries for whom transformation art alone simply doesn't cut it. Back in 1998, a furry troll going by Blue Otter launched Furnetics.com, the website of an alleged gene therapy clinic running out of Mongolia that was developing human-to-furry technology. You can even click this link that goes nowhere to learn about their upcoming 2015 partnership with the nation of Iran. But some people were more sincere about this. In the 2000s, there was this very obscure website called the Equine Dream Foundation. Its mission statement? Promote transhumanism through body mods, surgery, medicine, any means necessary. The site itself contains a few pieces of transformation fiction and poetry. On their Hall of Fame page, they cite Michael Jackson, the Lizard Man, and this man covered in leopard print tattoos as living examples of extensive body modification. Now, the implication that Michael Jackson literally became a white guy because he had vitiligo is very funny and incorrect, and I'm not really sure what he's doing on this website, but it did make me laugh. I wasn't expecting to see that. And while someone like the Lizard Man is undeniably super modded in service of looking like a specific animal, the consensus is not that he's literally turning into one. Evidently, this subculture got laughed out of the room by other furries, and this is probably why biofur never really became a thing. There's even a 2008 DeviantArt thread making fun of this specific website. But surely one person out there must have attempted to remove body parts to actually become.
Stop, don't say that. Don't. No one did that. No one removed body parts to become an animal or to disfigure themselves. Nobody did that, right? Nobody did this. Nobody's doing this. Please, nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing this.
An animal, right? In the most extreme example that I could find, some of you may remember this
Furry loses both hands, very likely on purpose. Well, I'm in the hospital with the life-changing situation, not wanting to discuss the details at this time. Basically, it's resulting in bilateral hand amputation, so things are about to get very interesting in my life. I'm doing okay, remaining optimistic.
2019 incident where a furry, alleged, had some kind of a DIY dry ice treatment that he was using for his arthritis, which accidentally froze his hands and forced him to amputate. Allegedly, so that he would have no choice but to wear prosthetic paws for the rest of his life. Now,
Really?
I have looked high and low for evidence that this is something this person did on purpose, and every single time I found the same 4chan screenshot that people were reposting and treating as gospel. I really don't know what to think. I'm not sure this is true. So, are people doing this to themselves in real life? You know,
Hopefully
like that
not.
one Redditor wanted to know about the dog man? No. But
Okay.
there is a small online community of people that believe in this on a spiritual level, and they call themselves Therians. And there's that word again, Therian. You may remember that the DeviantArt medical experiments roleplay guy, his username contained this word, Therianthropist. But Therians online are a different thing, and they're not a fetish. They know that they're human beings, but it's their belief that their human form does not reflect the innate spiritual animal identity that
I mean, that's just all of us, though. Like, we know that this human form is just a shell of the beast inside of me, you know? It's just this shell of the alpha wolf inside of me howling at night that wants to be unleashed and run rampant because it's locked in this cage. It wants to finally show itself and reveal its true nature. Yeah. But of course, I can't let that out. You know? I can't let that out. I just have to play the game with the rest of you humans. Or we just have to play the game with the rest of you humans. But if you're an alpha, just hit the ooh-woos in the chat so we all know that you're here with us. As a father, I know y'all motherfuckers ain't been up all night long. All night long. Even my kids were like, bro, Dad, I know you weren't up all night. And I'm like, I was. They're like, what were you doing? Grinding. Grinding is what I was doing, bro.
they experience. They don't actually think they're turning into animals, and they really only pertain to our discussion because they use similar vocabulary to the zoomorph fetish guys, but I have a feeling that's only the case because the genre of guy turning into animal provides us very little vocabulary to choose from. So we've covered the nightmare fuel, we covered the fetish, we covered the body horror thing, but we haven't covered you. Because you have definitely indulged in this kind of thing, not necessarily in a fetish way, and you probably didn't think twice. The true part 5. John Pork.
Oh, stop.
It turns out the anthropomorphic animal thing has been a fixture of every society since the beginning of forever, and ours is no exception. Some of you grew up reading Animorphs, some of you watched Disney's Robin Hood as a kid, some of you heard the animal sounds Jonathan Davis was making and decided to take it literally, and some of you are just really big fans of John Pork. Horse girl, cosplay, Snapchat animal filters, drag makeup, the cat girl phenomenon, this stuff is ubiquitous. I think it's an inherent part of human nature to try and identify with our animal companions, and most of the time it's completely fun and innocent. There just happens to be a minority of people for whom the experience is a little more intense. But to finish our journey all the way back out of the rabbit hole, let's return to our nightmare fuel and specifically to the artists that made it possible. There's one question about the Dolphin Man that we still haven't answered. Why did he look like that? Well, I hit up North4FX on Twitter, and this is what they had to say. In 2005, I met my partner, and he wanted to be more involved in my business. He'd never tried sculpting before. In 2006, we discussed what he could sculpt, and we decided to go for a dolphin because he was a fan of the Sega Echo games, and I thought it would be a simple shape to train on. So we both worked on the dolphin, passing it back and forth, taking turns working on it, for him to get a feel for the process. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite get a grasp for morphing an animal shape to fit over a human head, and he hasn't sculpted since. The makeup was done on August 30th, 2006, where I modeled it. I saw the "this is not a drill" video when I saw a notification on my YouTube copyright tab. I thought it was funny. I'm very aware of how creepy what I make is. The uncanny valley is my playground, and I enjoy making art that leans over that cliff. I've mostly just been sitting back and chuckling and just letting people have their fun with it. It's an extension of their creativity to create stories and videos and edits with it. I've seen the origin stories people whip up, or the people treating it as some sort of lost media to go find the original audio.
But
I never included the audio because my old digital camera had terrible onboard audio. Early gen digital cameras sucked. So basically, they never set out to terrify the public.
They literally were just doing it for shits and gigs. Like, yo, let's just make something cool. And fuck it, it's your first time, why don't you make a dolphin and then we'll record it.
And neither did Dusky Sam, or the Dog Man, or ostensibly the Dog Woman head swap fetish guys on DeviantArt. It was just an unintended consequence that made for good internet storytelling. So if you're gonna get into this kind of thing and share it online, just be warned. It could get a little hairy.
For sure, that was good.
This has been Bad Art History. Thank you again to the GOAT, Meta PCs, for sponsoring.
Fire, 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 fire. Shout out Frankie Faye and Bad Art History. Those ones are always so fucking insane, dude. So insane. A furry fetish you've never heard of. WVid.